Are you there, Sheffield?
Oh, hello.
Hiya.
You hear me?
I can, yeah. No, you've not masked yourself up. Are you okay to be seen like this?
Yeah, no, I'm fine with my face being shown.
Right. And what's the how long's the encampment been at Sheffield?
So we started midday, May 1st, and it's been going on since then.
And have you had trouble with the university?
No, we've not had any trouble with the university so far. We've had a couple of people, agitators, trying to come along, shout stuff, but we've just kept in good spirits and ignored them, really.
Oh, so you've had people trying to provoke you to say something or get some clips and stuff like that. It seems to be a tactic that they use. What's the university's link with Israel? Have they been supporting the war machine?
Yeah, so the camp's being run by the SCCP, so we're the Sheffield Campus Coalition for Palestine. So we're across both campuses. But yeah, so University of Sheffield, they are heavily complicit. They've received 72 million in investments from the arms companies in the past 10 years. But more importantly, the AMRC, which is the Advanced Materials Research Centre within the university, assisted in the manufacturing process for the F-35 combat aircraft. And that's actually used by the Israeli military in Gaza. And it's saved them around 15 million in costs for BAE systems so far. And then also Sheffield Hallam, for example, has multiple links with a lot of different companies that were involved in the occupation, such as BAE Systems, JCB, Caterpillar, Hewlett-Packard, Rolls-Royce, and Volvo trucks.
And how long have you known that information? Was it something you've had to dig out recently? Is that?
So yeah, there's been an investigation and a report done, and it's being published soon by the SCCP, so by the Campus Coalition. But pro-Palestinian activism on Sheffield campus has been a long-standing thing.
Right, and just to I'm going to bring in Faye from Leeds. So we've got another Yorkshire University joining you.
You hear me okay?
How you doing, Faye?
I'm good, thank you. How are you guys?
So how's it been in Leeds? I mean, the thing about Leeds is there was a clip that I'm just going to show from what happened on a protest you had the other day, and then I'm going to talk about it.
We'll never be defeated! Machinists, united! We'll never be defeated! Of innocent Palestinians! No. I was ready for us to, we were going to make a speech and then we were going to go, and then you started being
No, you guys put past us. You guys all put past us.
and then the solution is to kind of get a little bit on the face, like, oh,
no one got to the floor.
we can kick off a fuss on social media, and you guys fucking know that.
I mean, that looks horrific. What's happening there? So the university have obviously taken a stand against what's happening. Faye, can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so that's a really distressing video. I wasn't there when the altercation happened. I was there immediately afterwards. Everyone was quite shaken up. I guess the way that we see it from our perspective is this is an escalation of over 7 months of action that we've taken as students on campus. Like, we started doing walkouts and vigils. We then escalated with an occupation in March. We occupied our main building for like 15 days. We got into instances with security then that weren't physical, but like we were basically threatened that we were going to be like locked in for the entire weekend. When we initially begun our encampment, we were told that no food or water was going to be able to enter the building. We were told like we weren't given prayer spaces to make. So there's been abrasiveness for a while. But then this escalation happened. Yeah. There was a group of us trying to take direct action outside an award ceremony. And I believe that what happened is the security told them that, okay, you can give a speech and then you can go. And then that was the agreement that was made. And so then when they were going to make the speech, like with the megaphone, then people began tussling and the security began grabbing it, using their physical bodies. And these are guys who are like really, really big, like Yorkshire lads. And these are like small, like students, like young students who are just like trying to make some noise about Palestine outside of an award ceremony in which all their management were there as well. These are management as well who have ignored us for ages. Like they've ignored us. They've ignored our escalations. We've written countless open letters. We've had countless demonstrations outside of them. Like our management has just allowed what's going on to happen under their nose. And yeah, we got to keep on escalating.
Yeah, I mean, you've just mentioned all the work, the protests and action you've been taking before. The way the media is presenting this is that you've just sort of, your students who've picked up a trend from the US or some sort of thing, that this fashion of encampment, but they certainly are interested now, aren't they?
And yeah, this has been extremely frustrating, because every single protest we've had heavy media presence, like Sky News come, Channel 4 come, and this has been going on for 7 months. Like they come, they interview us, they make us feel heard.
Now they do. Now they do. You mean?
No. Sorry, prior to this.
Prior as well. Oh, okay.
But then what happens is they release the article, and they've only released the voices of one side of the story every single time. Like they never amplify our voices. They come and they record these interviews with us, and they give us the time, but we never make it into the final cut. So it's like they've known it's going on. We've been in contact with them the entire time. We've been constantly trying to push. If you go on like 5 Pillars news channel, which is a Muslim network, you're going to see way more coverage on the stuff we've been doing, because these are the people who are representing us. So like we have actually had the media presence. The media have known the entire time. We've been reaching out to them constantly. We know that we need to like message this out as much as possible. And they kind of tell us, yeah, great, you guys are doing great stuff. And then we hear nothing, or we see the news article posted and none of our voices are being amplified. It's just the opposition.
Right. What's your view on that, Ali? I mean, have you had the same experience with the media?
To be honest, we haven't really had much coverage of all the initial stuff we've been doing. So just like Faye said, like this is an escalation of action. Like the SCCP as an organization has been doing stuff since it was founded to kind of work against the university's complicity. But yeah, it's just been ignored, and this is just sort of the next rational step. If management aren't willing to listen, we need to put ourselves in a position where they have to listen. And I think that's the fundamental thing. It's addressing the power imbalance between students and management at the moment. Because fundamentally, universities are community institutions, and they're not reflecting the will of the community at the moment. Like if you go to a city, most of the people in that city will know people that are involved in that uni. Yet this university is taking money from arms companies. No one in our community wants that.
So are the numbers of students attending protests and getting active and sort of standing up for Palestine, has that really escalated? Have the numbers of people gone up in your experience?
Definitely,
sorry,
yeah.
Ali.
Yeah, definitely. But I wouldn't say it's like hopping on a trend or anything like that, like the media's trying to make out. I think it is genuinely just some people weren't aware of what was happening. I don't know how they weren't aware, but some people weren't aware. Also, some people believe media's narrative over what's been happening in Gaza. And I think people are slowly starting to deprogram because the death of over 35,000 people is kind of like, you can't look past it at this point.
And Faye, do you think that the university's strong arm response to what your protest was, do you think that's going to mobilise more people behind your campaign now?
Yeah, I mean, it already has. Like the amount of support we've gotten in the days following from that has been incredible. And even now, our encampment, so our previous encampment was in the main university building. This encampment is right in the middle of campus, and we are reaching out to so many more people. And I think it is frustrating kind of being portrayed as if we're kind of just following the steps, or like we're only inspired by the American encampments, that's why we're going to encampment. Like that is frustrating in its own respect, but equally it is putting it more in the news. Like it's forcing more people to confront what's going on. It's forcing more people to come onto our campus to recognize that we're part of an international movement. Like this is way beyond just a small minority of radical students who are fighting for this. This is a national movement that has the attention of hundreds and thousands and millions across the world, clearly.
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask, I mean, you've both not got a mask on. I mean, is there fear? Are you just too fed up with the whole fear stuff?
I mean, for me personally, any consequences I face for opposing the genocide, I'm happy to take.
Wow.
And for me as well, like I'm exercising my right to free speech. I'm completely within my right to oppose a government that has no opposition within the government. Like I always say this, I believe we are the only ones keeping democracy alive. When you look at the government and there is no one strongly opposing what's happening in government, like the core of a democracy is opposition and challenging and checks and balances. And the fact that like the two leading parties both have the same stance on an incredibly divisive issue is just an insult to democracy in itself. So I believe that we are the saviors of the democracy here, like if of whatever's left of it. And so we should continue to use our voices. We're completely within our right to stand for Palestine and to stand for humanity and to stand against the genocide. So I don't want to give in to this like fear culture. I feel like that's arising with it, because that's how they do it, right? Either they're going to try and redirect the debate, they're going to make it about student violence on campus, student tensions on campus, or they're going to try and scare us into saying anything at all. So we don't come on, we don't speak, we don't go to the news, we don't do this stuff. And it's not working. It's clear as day what's going on. There's a genocide that's being funded by all of our institutions. It's being funded by our governments, and we're resisting that.
Now, look, I just want to try something. It's a bit of a cheek on my part, but Huda Amori, I've just seen she's on the call from Palestine Action. I don't know if she wants to speak, and I don't know if she's ready to speak. She might be in her breakfast. I don't know, but I'm going to see if Huda is up for speaking. Huda, are you there?
I am here.
Are you eating your breakfast?
No, I just had my breakfast. I've had my breakfast. I'm happy to talk. Maybe not put the camera on though.
No camera on. Okay, all right, fair enough. That's good enough. So what do you make of the way that things are going in the campuses and the way the media's portraying it? I mean, you've been doing these actions for a long time.
Yeah, no, I think it's incredible, and I mean, and I just think that it's incredible seeing the students escalate. And I have seen that a lot of the students, like they said, I've been doing this for a while and have been occupying buildings over here and seeing how that's growing. It's crucial because these universities are so key in upholding Zionism and established Zionism in this country. Like F-35 fighter jets being helped by a university, that's insane. When I was at University of Manchester, you know, they were sending off, and still are, research for the Israeli Air Force. They work with universities. They're sending students to study on stolen land in Palestine. I mean, this is basic stuff, but they are so deeply complicit. And in that regard, students, even though it feels like they're being ignored, they have a lot of power to change a lot of stuff in this country. And so I think seeing them harness that it's going in a very positive direction. And I feel like they're going to win. Sooner or later, they will win.
And the direct action. So and the direct action that you talk about, that you know, the petitions don't work, the all that stuff doesn't work. The direct action works. I mean, it seems to be the case, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And it's the same story, isn't it? Of going from trying the other means and then getting to a point where you have to escalate, you have to take direct action. We're seeing that in all forms of activism when it comes to Palestine. For us in Palestine Action, it was, we're not going to beg the government anymore. We're not going to beg them, petitions, you know, to change the situation, to end their complicity, to end the Israeli weapons trade in this country. We'll take direct action. It's the same principle for universities. When they ignore you, you have to escalate, you have to occupy, you have to disrupt them, and they will have to bow to their demands sooner or later.
Thank you, Huda, for agreeing to this cheeky chat. Now, and thank you, Faye, and thank you, Ali. I mean, the audience on this show are obviously very young, and we many of us have been in student protests before, and it's great to see what you're doing, because it reminds me of occupying Glasgow University's visitor centre to stop the student loans. And I'm sure there's people here who may even have been there when the Vietnam protests were going on. I'm sure they'll be in the chat. It'd be great to link up on the next future show, student protesters from down the years. Thank you so much for coming on live from Sheffield and live from Leeds. Look at what we could do on this Zoom. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.